My daughter stopped eating the lunches I packed. When I found out who she was giving them to, I packed too. I noticed it about 3 weeks in. Emma's lunchbox came home empty, but she'd walk through the door starving, heading straight for the pantry like she hadn't eaten all day. I asked if she didn't like what I was packing. She said it was fine. I asked if someone was taking her lunch. She said no. I asked if she was trying to lose weight, and my heart clenched at the thought of my 11-year-old already worried about her body. She looked at me like I'd said something ridiculous, said she wasn't dieting, and changed the subject. But I started paying closer attention. She was losing weight. Not dramatically, but enough. Jeans looser, face thinner. I packed bigger lunches. Everything disappeared, but she still came home hungry. I called her teacher after 2 weeks, asked if Emma was eating at school, if anything was going on I should know about. Mrs. Patterson said Emma seemed fine, but had been eating lunch in a different spot lately. Used to sit with her usual friends, now sat at a table near the back of the cafeteria. The teacher assumed friend group drama. I asked if she was sitting alone. Mrs. Patterson paused. No, she was sitting with a boy named Marcus. I knew that name. Marcus Webb had been mentioned at every parent meeting this year. The problem kid. Disrupted class, got into fights, talked back to teachers. Other parents complained constantly. Words like troubled and bad influence and needs to be removed. I'd never thought much about him because Emma never mentioned him. Now she was giving him her lunch every day. I decided to see for myself. Took an early lunch from work, told the office I was dropping something off, found a spot near the cafeteria door where I could watch. Emma was at a table in the back corner. Across from her sat a boy who looked small for his age, shoulders hunched, eyes down. Not the intimidating figure I'd imagined from parent complaints. He looked tired in a way kids shouldn't look. Emma unpacked her lunchbox and slid items across the table to him. The sandwich I'd made that morning, the apple slices, the granola bar. She kept the juice box and nothing else. The boy ate like he was afraid the food would disappear if he slowed down. Emma just sat there talking to him, making conversation like this was completely normal. She didn't look scared. She looked like she was exactly where she wanted to be. I didn't interrupt. That night I sat Emma down and told her I'd come to school. Told her I saw her with Marcus. She went pale at first, then defensive. Asked if she was in trouble. I said no. Asked her to explain. She was quiet for a long time, picking at her sleeve the way she did when working up to something hard. Then she told me about Marcus. His mom left 6 months ago. Just packed a bag and drove away and never came back. His dad works 2 jobs now. Leaves before Marcus wakes up. Comes home after he's asleep. There's a little sister Marcus has to take care of after school. And there's almost never food in the house because his dad can barely keep the lights on. He gets in trouble because he's hungry, Emma said quietly. When you're hungry, you can't think right. You get angry at everything. Teachers yell at him for not paying attention, but he can't focus because his stomach hurts. She looked up at me with eyes too old for 11. I noticed he never had lunch. Like, never. Not even the free lunch kids get. I think he's too proud to sign up, or maybe his dad doesn't know how. So I started sharing. She'd been doing it for almost a month, going hungry herself so a boy no one else cared about could eat. She hadn't told anyone because she didn't want to embarrass him. He's not mean, Mom. He's just hungry. There's a difference. I pulled her into a hug and held her for a long time. My daughter, this kid I'd worried was being bullied or developing an eating disorder, had been quietly feeding a hungry child without asking for credit. She'd figured out what every teacher and complaining parent had missed, that the problem kid wasn't a problem at all. He was a boy whose world fell apart and nobody bothered to ask why. The next morning, I packed 2 lunches, handed them both to Emma, and told her one was for Marcus. She started crying and hugged me so hard I couldn't breathe. I also packed extra snacks for his little sister. I reached out to Marcus's dad through the school, carefully, without judgment, said I'd heard he was working hard and asked if I could help. He cried on the phone, said he'd been too ashamed to ask. We worked out a system. I pack lunches for both kids. He fixes things around my house on his rare days off because he needs to contribute, not just receive. Marcus sits at Emma's table every day now. Other kids have joined. The problem kid hasn't had a behavioral incident in 2 months. He smiles sometimes. I asked Emma how she knew to look past his behavior. She shrugged like it was obvious. You always told me hurt people hurt people. I figured he must be really hurt. I did tell her that. I didn't know she was listening that closely. I pack 3 lunches now. Just bread and peanut butter and fruit. My daughter showed me that small things aren't really small. Sometimes they're everything.